Rise of the Planet of the Apes is a film made in 2011 that served as a direct prequel to the original Planet of the Apes film franchise in 1968, and from the 2011 reboot came two sequels, Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes. But for this essay, we'll only be focusing on Rise and Dawn. To answer the question, to what extent do postmodern aesthetic strategies function as forms of political or cultural critique? First of all, I would like to explain what postmodernism is. The dictionary definition describes it as a mid to late 20th century intellectual, artistic, and cultural movement that acts as a skeptical reaction to modernism. But that's a very lucid term. The general gist is that postmodernism puts into question the changes in society from an intellectual, cultural, and social perspective for all diverse topics it can relate to. Relating to film with an example explained by John Hill, films have in various ways been seen to exemplify postmodern themes or to offer images of postmodern society. And the dystopian character of the contemporary science fiction film might be seen to be connected with a postmodern loss of faith in the idea of progress, which is where the Planet of the Apes movies come in. The first movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, takes place in Chicago, where a scientist has discovered the cure for dementia, a cure tested on chimpanzees. But after a lab disaster, the project was shut down, leaving the scientist to look after a highly intelligent baby chimp named Caesar. Unfortunately, as Caesar grows up, he develops identity issues, being too wild for humans and too smart for other apes.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
No!
This plays on the common postmodern theme of identity, and what it means to be human, or in this case, what it means to have humanity. Horrible, scary things happen. Humanity tears the world apart. But even in the horror, humans help, because light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Stated by Chrissy Tallent, which I feel is important in relation to the Planet of the Apes, because Caesar still holds a lot of empathy for humans, refusing to kill them even though he gains the power to, and they caused him and the other apes so much pain, opting instead to leave human civilization and make his own civilization in the Redwood Forest.
Caesar is home.
After stealing the virus that made him intelligent and using it on other apes so they could escape the cycle of abuse. Which also doubles as a reflection of another postmodern theme of the advancement of science impacting society, since the hubris of humanity created the virus that not only made the creatures they grew to hate, but the virus itself ended up wiping out most humans. The postmodernist's observation is that the decision on what gets studied and when isn't as free from special interests as we would like to imagine, is a quote by Scotty Hendricks which supports the overall conflict of the film, where certain individuals' special interests conflict with the overall benefit of humanity. Which brings us to the second film, that utilizes another postmodern strategy with a genre switch, as defined by Oksana Babalyuk. Genres are defined on the basis of plot structure of the story, its main characters and types of conflict. The first movie being a contemporary sci-fi drama, and the second turning to a post-apocalyptic sci-fi thriller. Following the events of the 2011 movie, the 2014 sequel takes place 10 years later, where humanity has lost its presence in the world, leaving the apes to build their new society, until a group of surviving humans makes contact. The film primarily centers around the us versus them mentality, a theory developed by Henri Teufel and John Turner, the centered individual being the presence of Cobra. Cobra perfectly symbolizes the us versus them mentality. As argued by Teufel and Turner, in terms of in-group favoritism, maximum difference is more important to the subject than maximum in-group profit, and that individuals strive to achieve or maintain positive social identity, which to sum up means comparing positive and negative connotations of the in-group, us, and the out-group, them, creates this need to differentiate groups out of pride over measurable benefits. Where Cobra, being so blinded by division, becomes the very thing he believed the humans to be, leaving the philosophy and leader that he prided himself on, in an attempt to prove that apes are better, regardless of the interest of the apes. By attempting to assassinate Caesar, framing it on the humans, seizing power, and enacting war on humans, causing the death of humans and apes alike, some of which at the hands of Cobra himself. After a physical conflict between Caesar and Cobra, the victory goes to Caesar, and as a last-ditch effort to save himself, he recites the philosophy he once stood by and broken, to which Caesar responds with metaphorically excommunicating him.
Ape. Not kill. Ape. You are not ape.
In conclusion, Planet of the Apes' postmodern aesthetic strategies to a great extent demonstrate cultural and political critique through the presence of its postmodern themes of what it means to be a human, the impact of science on society, and explorations of identity, alongside techniques of genre switching across both movies and as a prequel to an already existing franchise. as a representation of humanity's willingness to risk civilization in the name of personal conflict, money, prestige, and progress that will inevitably lead to more pre-existing hatred and hatred of a new kind, but also connotes that even through hatred, individuals can rise above and maintain humanity, even without humans.